Hey, I made this video for you to help you attract more women without saying a word through fitness, fashion, and finesse. Stop talking to women completely for the next 60 seconds. Would you rather learn how to get women to want to touch you, or do you want to feel like you're chasing women for their affection? I think it's a pretty simple answer to that, and I think you know what the answer is. The body language that makes women crave your touch, it's easy as reaching out, but don't touch. Now, after cold approaching hundreds of women, I've come up with proven ways to get her to initiate conversations and touch with you so you can sidestep rejection and find the love of your life. Using these techniques, I've had the privilege of having 5 women fall deeply in love with me and had years-long relationships with them. Based on my experience, I know exactly how to get attractive, wealthy, charismatic women to be attracted to me without saying a word. As your Greeting the Girlfriend guide, I want to share these secrets with you because the fear of rejection goes out the window if she makes the first move. So let's get into it. Right now there's a sort of shifting sands when it comes to touch on a date. This is in the pre-Me Too movement, the landscape of casual physical interaction was pretty straightforward. I mean, it was like open season. Guys got to pretty much do anything they want that was legal, but wasn't necessarily ethical. Coercing women, pressuring women, bribing women, doing all types of unethical tactics to get women to act like they like them. Now the things are different, and I actually prefer, and I want to acknowledge the positive shift towards greater awareness and consent, because I do believe it's a good thing that men actually have to use their attraction to get women to interact with them versus pressuring women or holding what they think is valuable over a woman's head so that way she'll behave as if she's attracted to him. I do want to highlight, though, there's a lot of confusion and hesitation, that some feel around touch when it comes to dating. So the bottom line here is that we really need to be able to decode those nonverbal cues, not only that we're receiving, but that we're giving as well. There's a real importance that should be shown when it comes to observing body language and personal space. For me, for example, one of the things that I want to do, just as an example, is I'm walking down the street, walking towards a date, like I'm getting to get ready to be there. I have a character in my mind that I want to emulate. It's the Punisher from the popular series on the streaming platform. The way he walks into a room, or the way he walks down the road as if he can destroy anyone. He's so powerful. And that's the impression that I want to give off when I'm even walking. So I've got this character in my mind. Then when I'm on the date, I have another character, an artist that goes by the name of Miguel. I think he's so smooth and has a sex appeal about him that I want to emulate. So I picture him in my mind. And I've done it for so long that now it becomes my walk. Now it becomes my finesse when I'm actually on that date. In addition to that, it's about your body language, right? You want to have open posture, feel relaxed and what I mean by that is your head is level, your elbows are pinched back, so your chest is up, and but open, not closed off, not with your hand, blocking your chest or your neck. You want to leave these areas exposed and open. This allows people to feel more comfortable. Showing your hands, that helps women feel more comfortable, like you're not a threat. But you also got to pick up on their subtle signs of discomfort or withdrawal. For example, one of the ways to do this is if you go in for a hug and you get the butt poking way out here, she's probably a little uncomfortable, especially if you went for it when she wasn't really inclined to do so naturally. And or the worst, if you get the pat on the back, like, please let this be over. You got to be aware that those are some of the signs that women are giving off that make you that should alert you to the fact that they are uncomfortable. I just want to let you guys know, I know I'm asking you guys to do something that's scary. This is scary, to go ahead and make yourself vulnerable, to put yourself out there. I'm doing a scary and challenging thing alongside you, just like I'm challenging you to do, right? I'm challenging you to be better with your nonverbal communication when it comes to attracting a woman. And I know it's scary. And I know I'm not even giving you all of the details, but I'm giving you some pieces that will hopefully help you to stay confident and driven towards the goal of finding the love of your life. These little bits of information, I want them to help you to find her. So do the scary thing with me, do the challenging thing with me. And what I mean is making these videos for you is challenging. This is something that's new for me. And I know I'm not great at it, but I'm getting better over time. Each time I put up another rep, I'm getting better. I'm feeling more comfortable, more confident, and so will you. So I challenge you to continue to do what you can to improve your nonverbal communication. So I want to just tell you a little story about a conversation I had just this past weekend. Had some friends over. We were talking about a guy that this friend was dating, and he was getting too touchy-feely with her. And she actually really liked the guy. She liked him, but it wasn't just that it was too much. It was also PDA, public displays of affection. And she just wasn't comfortable with him touching her in places that seemed inappropriate, even as she described it. Just didn't seem like that's where normally you would see people touching the woman they're interested in public in front of other people. It just was off-putting to her. And she just, she's getting to the point where she doesn't even want to see the guy anymore. My advice was, don't see the guy. It seems weird. Like, why are you doing these public displays of affection in inappropriate ways? And she actually told him, and he gave her an attitude about it. In my opinion here, he's trying to coerce her to accept his bad behavior by giving her an attitude. And I told her, don't fall for it. And then I started to wonder, why didn't he know when she wanted touch and when she didn't? So that's why I wanted to make this video for you, so that way I can explain to you that the one way to know is through reciprocation. If she's exchanging touch with you, or better yet, initiating touch with you, that's how you know. Aside from an expressed verbal consent or written consent. I mean, I feel like the post-Me Too movement is so heavily biased on getting express consent. That's not necessary, in my opinion. I mean, if you're picking up on those nonverbal cues, the safest way to go, sure, is going to be verbal consent. She says she wants you to touch her, but I just feel like she doesn't even want to say that. She wants you to feel like you're reading her vibe well enough so you know when to touch. So let me just explain. I went on a date this past weekend, and when I went on the date the other day, it was with a woman who was objectively attractive. And I say that because while we were on the date, literally 10 to 15 times, we were hanging out for 4 hours at a jazz festival, and 10 to 15 times people came up to comment on something her hair, her clothes, her jewelry, her handbag, just her being beautiful. She was really tall, literally taller than me. And, she's just outstanding, right? So objectively attractive. And she kept touching me. Like, I wasn't even really going out of my way to touch her at all. Now, I will say this, when we met up, so we were walking towards each other, like we were coordinating on our phones and figure out where we're going to meet. And then I saw her before she saw me, which is a huge key element with making eye contact. But we're talking about physical touch here. So one of the things that I did is I gave open arms, big hug as we were going towards one another once we got within hugging distance. And I made myself vulnerable by outstretching my arms. She surely could have stopped me with a handshake, but it's unlikely because of how bold I was being with that big hug hello, So that right off the bat was me initiating a touch and then seeing what her reaction was. Because again, she could have stuck out her hand and said, or she could have said, I have a cold. I don't want to, there's a million things she could have done. And also she could have done the, let me stick my booty out and tap you on your shoulder, give you like a, a grandma hug or something like that, but she didn't do that. It was quite relaxed and natural hug. So throughout the date, I was relaxed, open, and I gestured towards her often. And this is the key to getting women to touch you. What I was doing was I was acting as if I was going to touch her arm, but then I didn't. We were going to go to one of the food trucks, and I sort of directed her, and I put my hand behind her shoulder as if I was going to touch her shoulder, and so she could see me, but I didn't touch her. And then we got there and to order from the food truck, and I turned towards her. And my body language is really important here too, because I'm not only looking at her, making solid eye contact, like a 60-40 split, solid eye contact most of the time, but I'm also turning my body towards her. And then she said something funny, and I went to make a point after her joke, and I reached out as if I was going to touch her, and she touched me instead. So this is what I'm talking about. That was the first time I noticed that she touched me. But from there on, she touched me numerous times on my arm as she was speaking. She touched me on my hand as she was speaking. When we went to walk to a different location at this little jazz festival, she took my arm. She did a number of things that made me recognize that she was interested in touching me. And granted, I'm doing a lot of things that encouraged her with my body language, my eye contact. I was animated, I was open, I was vulnerable in my body language as well, like I described to you. And to be and the clincher at the end, she hugged me twice at the end of our date. Now, I know based on the interactions we were having, the conversation that we were having, and on this channel, I don't talk too much about, what needs to be said, because there's so many other creators that are talking about what to say to women. I want women to be attracted to you. And I know that she would have been open to me kissing her at the end of that date. But to be honest with you, I just wasn't attracted to her. Now, I know I just said she was objectively very attractive, and she was, but she just wasn't my type. And what I mean by that, is I prefer a woman who is anywhere from average to athletic to chubby. And this woman was on the thinner side of an athletic build. I'd rather a woman be chubby than skinny, if you would. So I decided, since I'm not all that attracted to her, I probably shouldn't put either one of us through the ringer by trying to date a bunch of times when I already know from the first date I'm not that attracted. And obviously people think she's attractive. So if I'm on the fence about it, and there's a ton of objective people out there who can see that she's attractive, why am I holding her back? So there's one thing that I had in mind though on this date. I washed my hands, and then my hands were really dry, and I wish I had my lotion on there, my lotion with me on the date, but I didn't. But I do want to go ahead and recommend this Lubriderm lotion. I just want to mention that. Check it out in the description so that you can see what hand lotion that I'm using that helps me feel like when I go to touch her, I have confidence that my hands don't feel too dry and brittle. I want to feel like comfortable touching her if I choose to do that, and I want her to feel like she's comfortable when I touch her as well. Now, if you want to attract women without saying a word, then hit subscribe right now. I need your help with a couple of things. I need to know, what is your biggest struggle when it comes to having a conversation with a woman who you want to date? Is it fear of rejection? Is it that you don't know where to go? Is it that you don't know how to start the conversation? Let me know in the comments. Lastly, I need your help to get to 50 subscribers so I can go live from my mobile phone to bring you higher quality and more dynamic videos from anywhere. Remember, I'm here to show you how to attract women without saying a word through fitness, fashion, and finesse. Don't chase attention, attract it.